guys, my name is Nakia and I did $1.4 million in 4 years selling on Amazon, creating a store, doing all the things, and now I help others do the same and start their stores on any platforms that they choose using the same business fundamentals that I did when I grew my Amazon store. So common question, how do I create social media content specifically for my product business from scratch? So in case you didn't know, this is part 2 of how to attract your ideal customer. So this is part of the plan. So definitely go back to part 1 so you can watch that whole part, and we're gonna get right into it, guys. So for some reason, as soon as a product-based owner opens up their store, they're like, okay, but hold on. What do I need to post? And usually I can tell you that what lacks is the community, right? They stop being real, that component moves away, and then they start just selling. And they forget about the other parts, right? Because the reality is that we are human beings, right? We have different emotions. Because the reality is that we are humans, right? So we relate on so many different levels, right? It's just not the product. It's not only the product. So it's about creating stories that people will relate to. I don't believe it's enough just to post your product and that's it. Now there are bigger brands that do this, but especially if you're just starting out and no one knows you, I think it's very important to relate in a different aspect, because the stories that you choose to share is what people are gonna relate to. That is what's gonna draw your brand. So that's, if you want to stop right now, the secret right now, if you want to stop this video right now, one of the main secrets that you could run away with right now is that you, in order to attract people to your brand, you need to start just telling stories that they will relate to. Right? So bye-bye if that's all you're gonna watch. Creating a profile for your brand is one of the most important things, because it really sets the stage to help you figure out what can you talk about, how can you relate to them, and what do they want to hear. It's also good to put a face to the brand, right? So when you're writing your post, when you're creating your post, you have that person in mind. So you're like, if you're talking to her face to face right now, right? So that's the idea, because when you don't have anyone in mind, it's like everything's free for all. Like I said, if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. Really, that's what that is. And it makes things feel real. And I can give an example with that, where, you know, I did a live video and on Facebook, and I remember people were like, oh my God, that's so me, right? Like the comments were literally like that, like that's me, so true. Right? And that's what you want to do. It's when you create your content, you want to be speaking to one person. So then when they hear your content, they're like, are they speaking to me? Like, are you speaking to me? Right? But when you keep it general, people are like, yeah, that's okay. But when you're talking to them, people pay attention. And that's a part of how you attract people to your ideal, like how you attract people to your brand, right? How you attract people to your product. So first things first, before I give this whole demonstration, is that you want to get as deep as possible and remove from the surface level stuff. Because the deeper you go, the better you can relate to someone, right? Like, if I say to you, I love you, but I say to you, I love you because, right? That's more specific, right? Right, than say, I love you. Like, love you's cool, but if you say, I love you because I like how you, I don't know, I like how you cook for me, it's more specific. So you want to go even deeper. So, and it's more ideas for you too. Right? So the more deeper you go, the more intense you get, the more ideas that you can get. So let's get right into the demonstration. So I basically took from what we built out in part 1 and then went in further, right? As much, for the sake of this video, it was a little shorter, but I went in further with what we built out in part 1 of this video of attracting your ideal customers. So the first thing I did is I created, what's her name, right? What's her name? And I was like, okay, let's say it's Ashley. Right? Who is she? So I just want to put this out there, is that this was a sustainable clothing business, but you'll notice that when you develop these profiles, is that it's really a reflection of you and your beliefs, because you're not going to do a business that you don't believe in. You're not going to talk about stuff that you don't believe in. So usually when you do these profiles, it's really a reflection of you, or it's like a facade of something else, of a different personality, if that makes sense. But it's still you. Like, a part of it is still you. Ashley is a person that loves life. She loves trying new things. man, if you gave her an activity to do right now, she would just do it. But don't cross her. Don't be trying to put trash in the ground, because she's gonna give you a whole lecture. That's the type of person she is. Oh, and don't cross her when it comes to the environment, guys. Like, just don't do it when it comes to Ashley. Like, that's how she is. So let me tell you about this girl, Ashley. She's one of those people that if she was walking with her friends right now, and they basically threw the trash on the ground, she would stop all conversation. The whole world will stop. And she'll tell them, you're gonna pick that up, right? She'll ask them that, like, you're gonna pick that up, right? Right? You're gonna pick that up. Right? And she basically like makes sure that her friend picks up the trash from the ground. That's the type of person she is. Just put it out there. And to be honest, she'll even go a step further, and she'll be like, if she saw you throwing garbage in recycling or recycling in the garbage, she'll be like, throw it in the right bin. We're gonna throw it in the right bin today. We're not throwing it in the wrong bin. She's just obsessed with sustainability. Green clothing, baby. This is her. So I just want to be a side note here, like, I'm extra, like, I love cracking jokes, so like, I imagine like that's how a person who's environmental friendly is, and they take it to that extent. Because when I'm passionate about something, right, I'm gonna let you know. You know what I mean? So that's how I made her, right? So let me continue her little profile here. Ashley loves the morning. She loves putting on her recyclable, expensive leggings. Hint, hint, which is the product. And she loves taking that bad boy and going running outside in her nice, expensive sneakers. The best of the kind, baby. No cheap stuff here, right? Because a side note, we do know that if it's sustainable clothing, right? You know that people are most likely gonna have to have money because it's gonna be a little bit more expensive, right? So we're setting up this profile, right? Because those are the type of people we wanna attract. Quality over quantity, baby. And the story continues. She's an administrator at her job, makes really good money. She pays attention to detail. She's a detail girl, okay? She is very detailed, very big picture thinker, but she loves the details. She's almost like a perfectionist. Loves details, loves doing everything right, really cares about the environment and everything around her. Side note, I am a foodie, so I had to put this in there. So that's why I said it reflects like really you, like your beliefs and all that. So side note, I had to put this next section in there. So let's continue this. She cares a lot about what she eats, and she loves vegan food, but not the boring kind. She's vegan, but she loves her dinner. She loves her food. She loves her food looking all pretty on her plate, okay? And she loves posting it on Instagram. That's her thing. That's her thing, baby. She's that type of person that will make money rain, guys. And as soon as she finds that company is ethical, oh, she'll just throw her panties at you, right? She's ready to spend her money. What? Because it's so hard to find ethical type companies, right? And you know what makes her reign even more? The cherry on top is if they're so environmental friendly. Can't go wrong with that, yo. So this is just a side note before I tell you the last part, is that I actually love ice cream. And ice cream makes me happy, right? So this is how I did the profile, so just listen. And when she's having a bad day, girl, she takes out her dairy-free ice cream cookie and eats that bad boy. And it just perks her up. This is a great example, right? Like, if I was creating this brand and I was that type of person, because you still want to appeal to people, so you still may have to tweak it, right, according to what people will like, right? But you're still making it interesting to you. So if I were to have a sustainable brand, I would probably make it that way. That's how I imagine it. But I still made it with tweaks of stuff that I could relate to as the owner, right? You get what I'm trying to say? So the question you need to ask yourself is, what do they like, right? What appeals to her? What do they want to talk about? What do they enjoy talking about? What can they talk about forever, right? So if Ashley's vegan, right? Most likely she could talk about vegan forever and finding new recipes, especially if she cares about having a really good dinner. Some seasoning, yo. Like having good dinner that tastes good. What pillars or content can you create that you could talk about a lot that's related to your brand? Feel me? What is your brand about? In my case, my demonstration brand was a sustainable green brand, right? So like it's very geared to that. So like I'm sure like what's dear to their heart is making sure that the company is ethical, they're not doing any crazy labor stuff. You know what I'm talking about. We can keep on going on and on with that. But you get the point, they're not testing it on anything, you know, that's not human, right? I'm assuming that would be dear to their heart. So if this has been helpful so far, definitely like the video. Come on, like the video. And just to let you know, I'm having the Let's Go Bananas retreat, where what that is that basically you're gonna build and create a store that you love, that you're gonna be sticking with long term. And so this is a step-by-step workshop, guys. And so this is a whole weekend retreat where we're gonna be going into how to create a product, basically building a store from scratch, creating a product, all the way to how to attract your ideal customer, as well as creating a mean marketing strategy, yo. Come on, can't get better than that. And it's all there. Click the link in the bio, and you're gonna see it in the description. After you write this profile and you tell this really awesome story about who Ashley is, then you're gonna pull out parts that stand out to you, right? So you don't wanna overthink this part. You're just pulling it out to get ideas of what pillars can you have that you can talk over and over again. So you have to make sure you like talking about it though. Don't be choosing anything that you don't like talking about, right? But like in the middle, right? So you like talking about it and they love hearing about it. You know what I mean? So one of the parts was she said she loves running. So right away, I would highlight that and be like, okay, so she loves running. So maybe we could talk about being active. Another part about it is we understand that she loves ethical brands, right? So you can like talk about the benefits of the clothing, like how it helps the environment, how it doesn't, there's no like, you know, bad things that are going on when creating the clothing, that type of thing. So you can talk about the benefits, right? Stuff that they would want to hear. Even talk about the mindset of loving life, right? Talk about like stuff that, you know, tips to do to love life more, or tips to do like the benefits of loving life. Like talk about the mindset of that, of like seeing the good and the bad, like stuff like that, like feel good stuff, because people love inspiration, right? At the end of the day, people love being inspired and pumped up, right? So what better place to go to if you see like a brand on Facebook or Instagram, wherever it may be, where you're giving tips on how to feel good. Who doesn't want to have that? Right? And that's something that will draw people in because they relate to it. So you'll be relating to people on different layers. Start telling stories. So start developing some stories. Especially, it could be generally about you, because you still want to have a part where you're always connecting with people and you're telling real stories, right? Because that's how people relate, stories, right? People will reach out when you start selling. People will be listening. They'll be like, hold on here, hold on, right? They're gonna be like, hold on, like, wait, you're selling something and I relate to you, so I'm gonna listen, right? So this could be stories about certain moments, right? Moments that, you know, didn't go as well, but you were inspired by it, right? You know what I'm talking about, those moments where they're learning moments. It could be like how you started the business, why you started the business, stuff that people have said that annoyed you. Those are the best ones, because those are usually what people are thinking, they don't say it. So like opinions that people have said where you're like, dude, that's not how it is. Like stuff that gets you riled up and you start talking about it. You know what I'm talking about. So you could talk about, so remember we talked about like Ashley was vegan. So then you can tell stories about how you turn vegan if you're vegan. Or you could talk about sharing recipes, and maybe you get creative and you start sharing recipes as well. Like it could be anything you want, right? As long as it's bringing in the right people. Right? So just keep in mind that you may need to change it. It may not stand in stone, but you'll figure out what people like, because what it is in the beginning, it's all testing. You're throwing it out there and you're like, hey, what do people like? And if they are a environmental buff, right? Because a profile did talk about, you know, Ashley really cares about the environment. Where you throw away the trash, right? You could even bring in stats. Right? If you're a person that likes to, don't do this if you don't like details, right? But if you're a person in general, like you're the owner and you love talking about stats, you can incorporate that and talk about how beneficial it is to take care of the environment and where the environment's going to be in a few years. You see where I'm going with this? So you can actually create stats, because people who are obsessed with that, who love that type of information, will probably love stats. You'll be their best friend, because they're going to be like, oh my God, finally someone gets me and understands we have to save this environment. So don't overthink this part. People overthink this part and they're like, they overthink it and then they don't end up having a profile, and then they're wondering what they should post. Don't overthink it. Don't be letting your mind telling you, oh, this is fake, and no, just do it, right? Because it makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense with the steps that I'm showing you, right? How it develops, right? How the profile develops, how it helps you create content, how it helps you create a voice, how it helps you attract your right ideal customer, right? It all comes in levels, right? And ripple effects. You want to start attracting your ideal customer. You need to start talking about stuff that you enjoy talking about, as well as having a conversation with people who are interested in what you're talking about, because they're naturally going to gravitate to you. And the thing about it is that when you're happy about talking about it, people notice, people see you. I can't tell you the amount of people who will see my content and they'll be like, oh, you look so happy, and you look so happy with your life and all that stuff, because people feel it. When you're passionate about something, people will watch it, people will listen. That's how it goes, yo. That's how it goes. From here, you would then create the content and distribute it based on a platform, right? So if it's TikTok, you're gonna create little videos with vegan food, talk about little stats in the video, like everything we talked about. If it's Facebook, you tell stories. You can still tell stories on Instagram, but there'll be more pictures. But you get the point, is that it's really a reflection of your profile, that you'll pull out the content and then you start creating all the different topics. But if you don't have that, it's a little bit harder. You know, it's a little bit rough, right? If you don't have a profile, you won't know what to talk about. So usually what people will reflect to is, oh, buy my product. But it's more than just that. Once you make the connections, people will just reach out. And I use the same strategies to attract people to ask me what I sell, to buy my products. I use these same strategies to help other people grow stores. I use these same strategies to when I was growing my store from 0 and went to 275K my first year. So they work. And creating real content, right? Not just around your product, but real content that they'll relate to. There's nothing wrong with promoting your business. Don't be thinking you can't promote your product. But it allows for conversation. So the problem I was seeing is that people will create these product businesses and then there's no room to have conversation, because they're just like, oh, head to my website. I understand you need to push them there. There's something about having an engaged community. You want to get it to the point where you can sell a trash can. So that's that. Now you understand how to create a profile around your brand, so then you know exactly who you're talking to, so then you can attract your ideal customer. This is how it is. And then you can create content from your profile, so everything stems from the profile, right? So now you know how to attract your ideal customer. So if you don't have a store yet and you're trying to decide on a platform, I actually have a next level training on top of this training to help you get going, because what good is it if you don't even still know what your product is or what you need to sell and where you should start. This overview training is the exact steps I did to make 6 figures in my first year. So text YouTube 833-431-0828. Excited to see you on the inside in this next level free training. Bye guys, see you next week.